Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another tutorial on HTML and CSS. I'm Kyle from kyleshowto.com, and today we're going to be learning what image and div tags are. We're first going to go over images, how to display an image on your web page, and then how to style it with CSS. We'll just do a width and height. Nothing too complex. And then we'll move on to divs. I'll show you what a div is, how it can be used as a container, and then we'll make a little red box with the div. And then we'll make a blank template with a div that's responsive, and it'll have like a left, right section and a bottom section, just three sections. And then we'll move on to a little more complex. We'll go ahead and add some paragraphs into those containers as well as the image, and we'll make it fully responsive so that it resizes with the browser. Let me show you what I'm talking about. As you can see right here, it looks like a basic web page, nothing too complex here going on. And as you can see, when you resize it, it follows it. And so that is what we'll be doing. So let's get right to it. Okay, so we're starting out with our basic HTML document. And as you can see, we've already got our style sheet linked. Our style sheet is empty. And so first, what is an image tag and how do you write the image tag? Just left arrow img, just hit enter. And as you can see, it automatically already puts the source in there. That is the one bare minimal attribute that you need. And all this is you point the image tag to where your image is located. So here's our website folder. And as you can see, let me just do that. I have put a picture of a dog into the pictures folder. Remember, we made that pictures folder in the beginning tutorial. So whatever name you want to name your photo, just put it in there. And so we'll go back to our document, and it's in the pictures folder, and then /dog.jpg. Yes, that is correct. And so we can save that, and we can go to our browser. Let me open it. And as you can see, it's really big. It's way too big. So we need to add some styling to this. Let me show you the old school way to do this. So there's width and there's height. And so I could say 100 pixels, and this is in pixels, by the way, by 100 pixels. Save that. Come back here and refresh. As you can see, it's pretty small, but as you can see, the aspect ratio is a little bit weird. It shouldn't be like that. So what we can do is I'll delete that. That's the old school way. I don't like to do it that way. So I'll go ahead and give it an ID. I'll call it photo, and then I'll copy that, come over to my style sheet, and this is an ID, so we put the hashtag and then paste that in. Open and closing curly brackets, space it out. And then what we can do is put width, and let's do 300 pixels, and then height. I'm gonna put auto. And why am I putting auto? It's because, we set the width, and so this height auto will maintain the original aspect ratio of the photo. So I'll save it, and I'll save it. Come back here and refresh, and as you can see, it's a more normal looking photo. And so now we'll go over what divs are. And a div is just essentially a container, so just type div and hit enter. And the way it is right now, it won't display anything at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little box with a red border. So I'll give this an ID. I'll call it box1. And then I will select that, copy it. I'll come over here. I'll delete this. It's an ID, so hashtag, and then box1, open and closing curly brackets, space that out. And then we need to set a width. Let's say 100. Let's do 400 pixels, and then height 400 pixels. Why am I not using auto here? Because this isn't an image, and we need to define a width and a height. Once we actually add something into the div, we can set the height to auto, but we'll have to give it some kind of a width. If we don't, it will just conform to the width of whatever's in it. So I'll go ahead and save that, cancel that, save that, come back here and refresh, and nothing happens. Let's see, box 1. Oh, I forgot to put the border. 1 pixel solid red. And I'll save that, come back here and refresh this. There we go. As you can see, we have a red box. Now let's do the template. I've already got this written down because you have to kind of fiddle with it for a little bit. So I'm gonna head over to kyleshowto.com and I'm gonna scroll down and I'm gonna just copy this document. No, wait, that's the wrong one. I'm gonna copy this document. This is the template document, and I'll just paste that in there, and then I'll get the CSS, and I'm going to go over and explain everything in this code here. And so Control All, Control V, and then I'm going to save that, and let me just show you what this is. As you can see, we have a blank template. Now I'm going to resize it. As you can see, it maintains the width that it's supposed to. It doesn't just remain one size, it's responsive. That's what responsive is. And so let me explain what's going on here. So we have 3 divs. This first div right here is this top left container. The second div right here is the right container. And the third div is the bottom container. This div this bottom div right here is the right container, or the bottom container right here. And so we have given an ID to each one of them. This is div left, this is div right, this is div bottom. And then we gave it a class because we want to give all of them a border. And so we only need 1 class for this. So let's go over here. Here's the left div, the right div, bottom, and border. And there's our class with the border. It's a border 1 pixel solid red. You could do black or, green, whatever you want. Anyways, on this left div, we have defined the width to 46%. There's a reason I put percent rather than pixels, and that is so no matter what size the browser is, it will always be 46% of the width. And then we defined a height because there's nothing in it, so we had to define a height with pixels. And then we floated it left, so it will suck to the left side of the browser window. And then we gave it a little margin left of 2%. And as you can see, there's the left margin of 2%, and it's 46% wide. This one right here is floated to the left. This one's floated to the right. This margin right here, margin left right here. And there's just a space right here because we're 46% width on each one of them. And then we have the bottom div. We have a width of 96. And the way I came up with these values is I just kind of messed around with it until it looks good. And that's kind of what you have to do as a web developer. Sometimes you have to kind of fiddle with it a little bit to get it just right how you want it to display. So we got a width of 96% and a height of 250 pixels. Like I said, there's nothing in it, so we got to define a height. Otherwise, it'd just be a red line. And then this is floated left, and the reason it's floated left is because we floated these up here, and if you don't float this one, it won't go with the workflow of the document, and you'll have issues and it won't display right. And so we gave it the same margin left as up here so that it's spaced from the left the same as the ones above. And then we gave it a margin top of 15 pixels. And as you can see right here, it's about 15 pixels from these top divs. And there's our border red. That's the class that goes on all of them. And so that is our template. Okay, so now we're ready to add a paragraph. We'll do a paragraph first, and then we'll do the image, and then we'll do the last paragraph. into the div containers. We're gonna have to change the height from pixels to auto because currently it has nothing in it, and we're fixing to put something in it, and we want the height to conform to whatever's in it. If you're enjoying this content so far, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also give me a like if you will. So we'll go ahead and space these out. I like to space them out like this. This is the first div right here, by the way. And then this is the second div. We'll space that out. And then the third div. So we have div 1, 2, and 3. So anything that goes inside of these will be inside of the container. So we're going to write a paragraph in this first one. We'll do the paragraph first. And I'm going to give it an ID. No, because we have, we're going to have two different paragraphs, I'm going to put a class instead. And I'm going to just name this parg. I'm going to copy that. Come over here. I'm gonna go to the bottom. Oh, by the way, these properties, these CSS properties, it does not matter if this float left is up here or down here. It doesn't matter if this margin left is here or here. As long as it's in here, it'll apply to this ID. And then also like the IDs and classes, like I could move this right here all the way up to the top. It doesn't matter. So with that being said, let's go ahead and copy and paste our new class called parg. And so a dot and then parg, open and closing curlies, space that out. And we're going to give it a font size of 2 view widths. You can do this in pixels. There's some other options you can do, but I always use view widths because it's responsive, meaning when the browser is more narrow, the letters get smaller, and then when it's wider, they get bigger. And so we'll go ahead and come back here and write something in here. We'll just write this is a paragraph. We'll do that first. We'll save, and then save, and we'll come here and refresh. And we forgot to set the height to auto. So let's go ahead and on that top left div, let's set the height to auto instead of pixels and save that, and you'll see it'll conform to it. There we go. And if I put more, let me get the text that I originally put in here. If we put more text, the height will conform to it. So I'm gonna just go ahead and paste, and then save, and then save. Come over here, refresh. As you can see, it conforms to the height of the paragraph, the div does. And so now we're ready to do the image into the right div, which would be over here. We're gonna put an image in here. And so I'm gonna come back here and write img, hit enter. And the source once again is pictures/dog.jpg, I'm pretty sure. And we need to give it an ID, just like we did earlier. And we'll call this, let me see what I called that. I called it image. Okay, I'm just trying to be consistent here. So image, and then we'll go ahead and copy that. Come over here, it's an ID. Come down here, hashtag paste, boom, boom, and then space that out. Whoops a daisy. And we will say width 100% and height auto because it's an image. And the reason I put 100%, now you might be thinking that's going to be the full width of the screen. Originally, if the image was by itself, it would be the full width of the screen. But as you can see, the image is inside of these two div tags, so it means it's inside of the div container. So therefore, when you say the image 100%, it's going to be as wide as this div is. So in reality, it's only going to be 46% wide. So let's go ahead and save that, come back here and refresh. As you can see, it is the same width, and then the height is auto conformed to however high the photo was. And so we're going to add our third paragraph. Let me get the text for that. Yeah, I know, I'm just being lazy here. Oh well. And so we're gonna put another paragraph in, and you can space them out like this if you want, or you can just leave them side by side and just paste in between. And I'm gonna just come up here and copy this class. This is really common in web development, just copy paste. That way there's no errors, so remember that. And then I'll just, oops, I need to go back and get my text. So copy and then paste. These spaces, by the way, don't matter. I mean, you could have it like way down here. It doesn't matter. So save that, and refresh. And as you can see how the height is like further down than it should be. Like this one conforms to it perfectly. We forgot to set the height to auto on this one, so let's go back and do that. And that's the right div, or no, it's the bottom div. And so we will go to height, set it to auto, save that, come back here, refresh. And when I refresh, you'll see that it'll conform to the bottom of this. Whoops. And yeah, you can barely see it down there, but it's right there. Okay, so now we have a border around each one of these, and we want to take the border away. So all we have to do is delete this, save, and refresh. And as you can see, the border is gone. So now we have a normal looking web page, and it is fully responsive. See how the text shrinks as it gets bigger, gets larger. So that's what we mean by responsive text. Okay, and then just a little side note for the image. There's another attribute that's very important in the future. Not right now, but in the future. It's called alt. And what this is basically a description of the photo. This is originally intended for people that have vision problems, and they have a reader that goes and reads the page. And so basically this describes an image, so you could just say picture of a dog. Now, what this is really helpful for is in the future, you will most likely want to do SEO or search engine optimization, and that's really important for ranking on Google, and the Google crawler can't see what the image is, so it relies on the alt tag, and that will rank your image like in Google Images. So it's really important for SEO to include that. So make that a habit when you are making your web pages. That way it comes naturally when you actually go out to try to rank your page on Google. So that is one important thing. Another important thing that I'll show you, I'll just show you. So sometimes when you are developing a web page, you swear everything's perfect and it's still not doing what you want to do. So this is a little tip. You need to delete your web history and cache. And so in Chrome, that's under Advanced Privacy Settings, and then Clear Browsing Data, and then you can clear it there. I'm not going to do that right now, because sometimes like some of the styling will get cached in the browser. So like especially when you go to upload to a live server, like an online server, that will come in really handy. A lot of times I use incognito because it doesn't store caches, and then even sometimes I still have to close it out and reopen it. All right, that concludes this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something from it. And if you have any more questions, leave me a comment. And also in the description, there's a link down below, and you can get the code for this tutorial. It's a whole article on pretty much the same thing. So if you forget some of the syntax, you can go there and remember it that way. And you can also copy and paste the templates and everything. And if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe and ring that little bell so that you get notified next time I upload the next tutorial. And as always, thanks for watching.